Hi, I'm Judge Penny Wolfgang. The Wonder Theater turns 100 this year. To kick off the centennial celebration, Shea's threw a big party. I'll take you there. And another milestone to note, this is the 200th anniversary of the Erie Barge Canal. Activities are planned all across the state. We'll find out more right here, right now on The Big Picture. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. Shea's Performing Arts Center opened 100 years ago as the Wonder Theater, and it's doing better than ever. To kick off the centennial celebration and raise money for the organization, the Shea's Gala was staged Friday, June 6th, complete with a red carpet experience and a who's who of the Buffalo arts and business community. I was there with the hometown camera to capture the excitement. It would not be a Shea's event and not a Shea's Gala at all if we didn't have Tony Conte here. We're so excited to see you, and I want you to just tell our viewers how many years you were in charge here, and do you miss it?
Well, thank you, first of all. I appreciate it. I was here for 15 years, and I came for a year and ended up staying for 15. I loved it. It was a lot of fun, a lot of work. But a lot of rewards too. So it was a great experience for me.
What do you think about all of the improvements and changes since you left?
Well, I think there's a lot to be done. Certainly there's a new project coming up, and that's an important one. We actually started talking about that back when I was still here. So I'm glad to see that it's actually going to happen. It makes Shea's more accessible for people, and that's really one of the keys and one of the reasons for doing it. So I'm very pleased with it.
Accessible and the major event, more bathrooms.
Yeah, that was part of accessible from my perspective. Absolutely. I think that's always been a real sticking point and difficult to figure out how to do. And that's actually what started the whole process of saying, okay, yes, is how do we solve this problem? And that's what we came up with. So.
And the elevators.
Yep. That's the other thing. Give people access to all floors of Shea's so that everyone, whether they're able or disabled, can still see it and enjoy it.
Hey, we got the one and only Tony Chase, who we have interviewed so many times, and we're so familiar with. He is Mr. Theater, and we appreciate it whenever we get to talk to you. So this must be your 100th gala, right?
100th gala. No, I wasn't at all 100. No.
Tell us about the gala.
Well, 100 years of this building is rather amazing. It was, of course, not built for the theater. It was built as a movie palace, 1926. But that the community has kept this building. Many communities have lost architecture like this. We had a jewel, including the Wurlitzer organ, the mighty Wurlitzer organ, and it's worth celebrating.
And tell us about what's going to happen this year with the theater, not just here, but in general.
Well, every season is exciting. The arts are under siege at the moment, and I see a kind of a turn toward the edgier and the more political in some of the smaller theaters. The larger theaters will still give us, it's like the 1930s when it was in the Depression, but it was still Fred and Ginger. We'll get some of that. And we need some Fred and Ginger. We all need that. But in the smaller theaters, look for some edgy stuff.
I just want to ask you about the Arties. If you just give us a little background, and it celebrates our local theater in so many ways.
Well, it's the 34th time we've done it. It's gotten so large we had to change venues because so many people want to come. And it does oblige us to take a moment to recognize the riches that we have right on our own doorstep. And I think when we first did it, we did it at the bar at Garvey's restaurant, and we couldn't even have enough place to do all of the categories, and now it's over 100 shows. There are always other venues trying to get involved in it, and it's because it's so wonderful here. And I think if you want to, an example of that, look at what Drew Fornarola does with Starring Buffalo, where he brings in Broadway people and has them perform alongside Buffalo people, and you can't tell the difference. They are equally good. We're lucky.
Curtain up.
Curtain up. A full gamut. Well, whereas the Arties is for people in the industry, the Curtain Up is for the audience. It's for people to come out and have a good time. I love Curtain Up. I was at the first one. Yeah, I was not at the opening night of Shea's, but I was at the first Curtain Up.
Before we talk about the Happy Gala, let's talk a little bit about Patrick Fagan and what he meant.
Love Patrick Fagan. I first met him in 1998. I was in the State Assembly. He came down to lobby for Shea's for the theater expansion. And that project was transformative and put Buffalo on the map as a major Broadway touring venue. It was Patrick's vision. It was his charisma. He was more like Michael Shea than any president. He was Irish, he was brash, and he was just a wonderful, wonderful man.
Now let's talk about something happier. It's a big gala, and also the 100th anniversary is coming.
Yeah, it's 100th anniversary next year. We have 500 people here tonight. Downtown Buffalo is alive. Downtown, the theater district is alive. And this is just the beginning of a long-term growth of activity in theater district. And we want to support the restaurants, the taverns, the shops in downtown Buffalo. We want to make this a 24-hour, 7-day destination, and we will succeed.
If you say so, I believe it. One of the honored guests was Doris Collings, 2025 recipient of the Michael Shea Lifetime Legacy Award. For the past 30 years, Doris has served as a restoration consultant to preserve the splendor of this historic landmark. Doris, we're so interested in how you came to be a preservationist, right? I got it right? That's really hard.
Certainly.
What is your background? How did you learn how?
I started out as an art teacher in the 70s. I went to Edinburgh State College in Pennsylvania. I taught about 8 years. One of them was in Austria, which is where I'm from originally. And then 4 more years in Erie, PA. And then I went to work for Pattons & Son, which was a big decorating outfit. And I learned all about paints and varnishes and carpeting and draperies and all of that. And one of our customers owned a restoration company. And when he realized I had been an art teacher, he said, "Can you draw? Can you paint? Are you afraid of heights?" And he said, "Don't quit your job yet, but I do have a possibility." And he brought me to the Basilica in Lackawanna. So I worked there for 5 years. And the project was ending, but in the meantime, I had met Tony Conte. And Tony said, "If you don't need to go back to Pennsylvania, would you consider coming to take a look at Shea's?" And he actually brought Patrick Fagan to meet me at the Basilica. And then I came here and I said, this place needs a lot of work. And they don't have the money because they were planning for the Stagehouse expansion. So I put together a program of what I could do by training volunteers. And it took them about a year to decide. In the meantime, I was doing some small repairs. And they finally agreed. Bobby Trepanis was on our board, and she finally said, "Let her show you what she could do."
Well, congratulations on winning this award and recognition, but now we know how justified it is.
Yes. I appreciate the honor, I really do. I did ask if I could have some of my current and former volunteers here with me, so they let me invite 9 of the crew, including one of the students from Villa as a representative for the school.
Well, that's great, and we're so happy for you and for your students, and thank you so much. After the red carpet arrival and lobby cocktail party, it was time to head to the main stage for dinner and presentations. Board Chair Jonathan Dandies hosted the show, welcoming one of Broadway's leading ladies back to Buffalo, Stephanie J. Block. Stephanie is well known for her portrayal of Elphaba in the touring company of Wicked, and won a Tony Award in 2019 as Best Leading Actress in a Musical. Plus, our friend Kevin O'Connell, legendary broadcaster, was there to host the live auction. He shared his special connection to Shea's.
Everything has been fine. This is one of the great events of the year. Of course, my dad has a wonderful history, as the O'Connells do, with the Sheas. But it's the kind of night. You remember the old line, "It takes a village"? Well, when you talk about the arts, whether it's the visual arts or performing arts, it takes a village, a town, a city, an area to keep the quality up there. Wouldn't you agree?
I totally agree.
And this is the kind of building that, it just doesn't get any better. And here's a guy who knows an awful lot about what it takes to put a wonderful world-class program together and keep a world-class building going. When you took this job, Brian Higgins, a lot of people were wondering, what's he got up his sleeve? Little did he know. The rest of us Irish knew exactly what he had up his sleeve. I'll tell you, the place looks great, Brian.
Yeah, it looks terrific. Thank you, Kevin. And we would not be here, Judge, if it wasn't for George O'Connell, who was the comptroller of the city of Buffalo. 3 times in the early 1970s, there were plans to demolish this building. And George O'Connell, even though he was the chief financial officer of the city of Buffalo, took on a civic role in rallying the city council to appreciate the historic nature of this building and the importance of preserving it. We would not be here without Kevin's father's advocacy, and that's why we got Kevin here.
That's
and
what
my dad was on the city council at the time.
That's what you call being a really good role model, and the testimony is true. Thanks, Brian.
And guess what? I wouldn't be a judge if it wasn't for his father.
Yeah, of course.
Man, he did an awful lot, didn't he?
We will continue to share the excitement of the centennial year for Shea's in future shows. We'll be right back.